Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. What's going on, people? We are getting it started tonight. Try to get a little bit more light up in here. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. If you are jumping on board, if you're coming online, let me know if you can hear me. And I will get started once I have confirmation that the mic is proper. The mic is working. Let me see. So, as we get online tonight, the topic at hand is how to leave the U.S. That's what we're talking about tonight. How to leave the U.S. Should you leave the U.S.? Fleeing the fascist foolishness of the orangutan regime. Bye-bye Babylon. That's what we're talking about tonight. So we're going to get it started. We're going to get it cracking. Let's see. So as I proceed, had this whole thing sort of like set up and ready to rock and roll. And I had a question for you. So I'm like, y'all feel it too? You feel what I'm feeling? I mean, I've been feeling it for a while, but I'm feeling it more nowadays than before. Yes, orangutan has something to do with it. So are y'all feeling it? What you talk about? What does he mean? You feeling like the walls are closing in? You feel fidgety in your spirit. And maybe every time you see a palm tree, you feel a way. I ain't gonna say you want to cry about it, but you feel a way. If you're feeling anything like this, I ain't saying I worded it the absolute best, but if you're feeling anything like this, don't fret. I actually say congratulations, because you may be suffering from a mental health condition, a little known mental health condition that kind of sort of got started, back when our ancestors was in chains. They called it drapetomania. Now, don't panic. It's not that kind of sickness. You can't go to the doctor and say, take my blood, run the test. It's not that kind of sickness. Drapetomania, actually, it's not even a sickness, although they tried to label it that way. It's more of a calling. That's what we're doing tonight. We gonna flip this word a tad bit tonight. It's a calling. It's that whisper in your spirit that says, there's got to be more than this. There's got to be more than this. So if you're feeling it, maybe something going on with your spirit. Maybe something going on with the universe. God is trying to talk to you. It's a yearning. Now, this yearning is a side effect of trying to survive in Babylon, while your soul is out here packing its bags. There was this little funny clip from Seinfeld a long time ago where one of the characters was like, oh yeah, I'm out of here. And they were like, no, you can't go. You can't go. You gotta, no, don't leave. And he said, look, I'm still here physically, but in my mind, I'm already gone. This is a little bit of that drapetomania. Your soul is packing its bags, but you on that 9 to 5, you on your grind, stacking your bread. What I say is, if this is you, if you feeling this drapetomania, even though you may not have heard the word before, but we're going to give that condition, we're going to give that feeling its word tonight. So if you're feeling this drapetomania, maybe it's time to start plotting for your peace, for your real peace, your true peace. Maybe it's time to start planning your exit. So let's talk about what we going to do with this get me out of here energy. How we going to channel this I gotta go? atmosphere, attitude, yearning that's inside you, and it's just brewing like a hot cup of coffee. Here's how we gonna turn those draped dreams into a real life exit strategy. Or at least I'm gonna give you a little bit of the game from my own perspective, my own travels, what I've been doing and still doing. I haven't mastered it, I haven't perfected it, but I answered the call and I'm gonna get it started. So thank you for tuning in for tonight's episode of The Proper Perspective. I'm just gonna give you a few tips. I'm gonna talk a little bit in between, but I'm gonna give you a few tips, a few well needed tips. If you already into this, then you already know. But this is really for people who might be thinking about it, and maybe you didn't click on a few YouTube videos that look pretty enticing. So I'm just gonna give you a few tips. Step one, listen up. You can't go nowhere outside of the country without what we call your golden ticket. What's that? It's the passport, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta have your passport. Now, actually, just to play around with the the graphics and the images, I thought I had something I was gonna put on the screen. Let me see if I can find it. And that is not it. So maybe not. Yeah, here we go. So, okay, let me see about this share screen mechanism so I can give you a couple of more hints and strategies. Bear with me for a moment. As we proceed to give you what you need. So share my screen. Here we go. We're going to share this screen. And give you a little bit of. So you see this, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we talk about tonight. We're plotting your piece. Real steps to moving to Ghana. Drapetomania ain't a disease, it's a calling. That's what we're talking about tonight. Now I gotta say, you should follow these steps. It's not just about moving to Ghana. I'm specifically narrowing in on Ghana for my own personal reasons, but it doesn't just have to be Ghana. So I want you to keep that in mind. The steps that I give you are going to apply to anywhere you want to go outside of the country, if that's what you really feeling like you should be about. So what we really gonna break down here is this idea of an escape plan, steps to relocate abroad. Because you might be feeling this drapetomania calling. Now, back in the day, drapetomania was something that they came up with because our ancestors, our African ancestors that were enchained, enslaved on the plantations all throughout the South, never gave up on the idea of regaining their freedom. So we fought, we broke chains, we ran away, we created maroon communities. We did anything that we could to get away from the enslavement, to get away from the cutting off of our liberation. And they thought that they were going to, they like to bring in their experts and ask the experts what's really going on. Well, the experts said, oh, these poor creatures, they're suffering from drapetomania. What's drapetomania? They said it was the mental illness of wanting to be free. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? they tried to actually create a term to call us medically, psychologically problematic, as if we're suffering from something because we want our freedom. So, yeah, it's a term that is drenched in negativity. But y'all know how we do, just like we did with the N word, whether we should have or not, that's not my call. We actually do it. We flipped it. And shout out to anybody, if you come from the feminist school of thought, the feminists took the B word and they flipped it. So if we're going to flip the N word, if we're going to flip the B word, we're going to flip the D word. Drapetomania is for those aspiring freedom seekers. You want to get up out of here. You want to get up off the corporate plantation, and you want to leave the America with the spell with 3 Ks. I'm gonna call you a drapetomaniac. I'm a drapetomaniac, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a drapetomaniac, brothers and sisters. So that's what we about. That's what we gonna start to be about. Now let me come back to the other screen so I can get this. Turn up my mic. Move this on over a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. So, as I said, we talking about drapetomania, we talking about our African history, and we talking about getting up out of the escape the killing fields. I think that's what Ice-T called it. So, as we get it started, we keep that right where it's at. Move it over just a little bit. Keep that in the screen. All right. Now, so like I said, step one, if you're a drapetomaniac, if you're aspiring to be a drapetomaniac, if you want to hop aboard the new underground railroad, it ain't all that. It ain't necessarily underground anymore. But listen, listen up now. You can't leave without your golden ticket. What's the golden ticket? The golden ticket is the passport, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all see this little blue image here? The blue booklet, the blue booklet. That's what the golden ticket is. Before you can say bye to Babylon, you need to get your passport. Now you can apply for it online. If you're a U.S. citizen, let me station that. Let me preface that. But you apply for it. Even if you're not 100% ready to make the move right now, you should still apply for it. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's coming down the pipe. And I'll tell you, like anything else when it comes to government procedures, doesn't matter if you're pro-government or anti. Doesn't matter if you are blue party leading or red party leaning. Processing is slow. Y'all been to the DMV? Y'all went to get your real ID. Y'all need the real ID also. But processing can be slow. So it's better to have it in hand now. What they say, it's better to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you got it in your hand now, you can't be held back. They can't tell you no. And I say all of that to say, if you're tuning in, then you know where I'm going next. Because you know I like my African proverbs. And you know I like my West African proverbs. And so a West African proverb from Ghana, a West African proverb from Nigeria, the Yoruba ethnicity says, he who does not travel thinks his mother is the best cook. He who does not travel thinks his mother is the best cook. Now, why am I saying this? If you are an aspiring drapetomaniac, keep this in mind. Until you see the world, the whole world, he got the whole world in his hands. Until you see the world, you'll assume what you've known in your corner, on your curve, on your block, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state, you'll assume the whole world works the way your little neck of the woods works. You'll assume that everything that works the way it works is the best way for it to work. So he who does not travel thinks his mother is the best cook. So I'm just throwing this out there. This is like the perfect reminder for those hesitating. What lies beyond your neighborhood, what lies beyond your nation could really surprise you, could enthuse you, could amaze you, could open doors and tap into energies you never even knew was dormant in you in the first place. So go get your passport, especially if you want to go to Ghana. You got to have your passport. Now, you also don't stop at the passport. There are definitely places where you can stop at the passport. You can go to Jamaica, just a passport. I think you can go to Mexico with just a passport. At least right now, as long as orangutan doesn't do anything to piss off their new president. But in addition, like I said, I'm just trying to give you some tips, hopefully some useful tips. But I give you some more tips once you get that passport. Oh, let me see. Before I even go to step number 2, let me just emphasize the need to not delay. We now living in a time where, especially depending on how you look, they running everything off of looks. And what you talking about? What you mean? Well, for those of us in the Black community that might be blessed with the greater amounts of melanin, we might not get mistaken for a Latin, a Latino X, a Latin X, a Hispanic. Might not. But for those of us who might be a little bit melanin challenged, these authorities might put their hands on us a little bit quicker. They may mistake us for, I know what has happened. They may mistake us for an immigrant. Now, don't come for me. I'm not putting down immigrants. As far as I'm concerned, y'all need to stay. Y'all should stay. You belong here. You deserve to be here. I don't care how you got here. I don't care if you came here legally, illegally, or what. Honestly, I don't care. But what I'm saying is, there's definitely some of these new ICE agents looking to put their hands on anybody. And if you ain't got your papers, they will put you on a plane and you'll be gone in 24 hours. So what I'm saying is, get your passport. I'll go further. Get your passport, get your birth certificate, get your social security card. I would say keep all of this on you. This stuff need to be on your person, just like your wallet is, just like your driver's license is. So you need to get that real ID, get it updated. Because if them boys come and you can't prove that you really are supposed to be here, you may wake up somewhere in El Salvador. Now, hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about, because that's been in the news. Now, we ain't got time to be waiting on U.S. processing delays. So go get your paperwork. You hear me? This is not the time for I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to do it next summer. Nope. The woke Olympics are cute, but freedom requires labor. Freedom requires legwork and paperwork. So whether you're planning to bounce in 3 months, 3 years, or 3 weeks, your first act of rebellion as a drapetomaniac is applying for that little blue book. So I can't stress enough to you that U.S. passport wait times can be unpredictable, especially when things heat up politically. And y'all gotta recognize we are living in a hot pot of political stew. So don't play yourself. Get your passport now. So you already got it. when you are ready to fly. So that's step one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the proper perspective. Drop a line, drop a note in the comment section. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're ready and willing. If you feeling the drapetomania, you about to go somewhere. Where you been? If you've already been out the country, where you been? Let me know in the comments. You been to Africa? You been to Ghana, Senegal? You been to Rwanda? You been to Kenya, Uganda? You been to Egypt? Where you been? Say something in the comments. Let me know. Well, like I said, so that's my step one. That's my step one for anybody trying to really get up out of here. Now, step two is this visa thing. Once you got your passport, that's like you got your wings. It's like having your freedom papers. But your wings can only go but for so far. Don't assume you could just show up anywhere. And just because you got good vibes and good intentions on your mind, all other nations on the planet is going to be ready to welcome you with open arms. No, it don't work like that. Showing up cute with a carry-on ain't going to get you but so far. International rules apply, ladies and gentlemen. And to some extent, this is where being knowledgeable about, I don't want to curse, but the mess that Uncle Sam does may come into play because visa rules vary. Like if you're paying attention to the news, then you notice in Namibia, the new Namibian president just said, you know something? Since orangutan wants to play hard and fast, and he wants to raise up tariffs, and he wants to try to penalize African nations, you know what? I see your game, and I'm gonna raise the stakes. So the Namibian president just told all Americans, y'all gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go back to your home country and start over. You're gonna have to apply for a visa. You're gonna have to pay those visa fees, and then we'll decide if we want to let you come back in. So orangutan plays hardball, other countries gonna play hardball right back. Now, some people may have a problem with that. I don't. I would I feel bad if you are an American, particularly a Black American, and if you're in Namibia right now and you just found out that you're gonna have to come back, I feel bad for you. I would hate for that to happen to me, especially if you went during a time when you simply didn't have to pay the fee. But what did Obama get sort of like famously quoting? Elections matter. This is one of the reasons we shouldn't be voting red. I'm gonna just put it out there plain and simple. This is one of the reasons as Black people we really don't want a Republican, it's particularly a MAGA Republican, to win the election, because there are other things that end up going awry. But I digress. I ain't supposed to be talking about politics. But you're gonna have to get a visa. And visa rules, they vary. You can fly into Egypt without applying for a visa beforehand. And once you land in the airport, you can go to the visa desk and say, "Hey, I'm here to see the pyramids," or whatever it is that you want to see. And they'll be like, $10 US, please. And they'll stamp your passport. You got your visa and off on your merry way. That's great. All countries are not like that. Now in Ghana, yeah, you're gonna need your visa and you need it before you go. You can't do the let me just show up first. Nah, they got different rules. Now you can apply online through the embassy. Now, again, I'm talking about US citizens, not to be like, I'm not cutting off anybody, but I can't speak on the knowledge and the rules of another country. So in fact, when you do apply for your visa in Ghana, you're gonna need your travel dates, you're gonna need your housing information, you're gonna need your vaccine records. Now, in the vaccine records, you're gonna need to show proof of your yellow fever shots. Now, I will say there are some exceptions, and you can talk to your doctor and you can work that out with your doctor because they will allow some exceptions to the yellow fever. But that's between you and your doctor. Without that exception, you need your yellow fever shot and you need to show it. But once you got all of this, this is like your extended freedom papers bundle. And once you got it, and once you get there, even off of a single entry visa, you can stay for 60 days. And if you plan it out, you can figure out a way to stay for longer off that single entry visa. Now, another one of the gems of West Africa is Senegal. Now, and I bring that up to say if you feel a way about the visas, I mean, I feel a way too, but it is what it is. So you want to go a certain place, you got to respect the country's rules. So, okay, yeah, I don't like the idea of paying that extra money for a visa, but I'm not going to sit over here and just not go. But if you do feel a way about the visa and you still want to jump on the flight, and you want to get a taste of West Africa, go to Senegal, ladies and gentlemen. Senegal, another one of the gems of West Africa. You'll be in luck because as long as you got your first leg of freedom papers, that blue book, the U.S. passport, you can enter Senegal visa free for up to 90 days. You just land, smile, and slide right in. All you need is your passport, your drapetomaniac spirit, and maybe you need to learn a little bit of French, or maybe learn a little bit of Wolof. But you can get through your stay in Senegal with English. Might be a little bit more challenging. I've done it. Now I know if I could do it, you could do it. I don't speak a lick of French. And the couple of words that I learned in Wolof, I learned while I was there. And I had an amazing time. So you could go to Senegal and get a taste of Africa. But if you're not that interested in Africa, okay, but you still need to know this information, go to Jamaica. You don't need a visa if you're a U.S. citizen. You can stay in Jamaica for 90 days. They got palm trees, beef patties, jerk chicken, and a proper perspective on life itself. So don't let the paperwork punk you out. Just plan smart. Get in where you fit in, go where you want to go. But if you are a drapetomaniac, you just don't want to sit around these contiguous 48 walls and live as if everything in the world is right here in this country. Now, I got another West African proverb for you. And this one comes from the Iwe ethnicity that's mostly in Ghana, but mostly also in Togo. Togo. Let me get that right. The proverb says, a stranger does not sleep in the chief's bed. What does this mean? Look, I said before, wherever we go, we got to respect the rules of that land. So even though we're welcomed, there's always rules, limits, and customs to respect, just like over here. Now, yeah, we may have some fights over here as to, what the rules are. You're going to have those anywhere. But this proverb fits perfectly with the visa guidance that I'm giving. You may be allowed in, but you got to know your boundaries. Because even a stranger that's welcomed should know he can't sleep in the chief's bed. Some things are off limits. So how y'all feel out there? I should have thrown that on the screen while I was reading that. But you can see, like, y'all like the colors on the screen. But that's, like I said, so it's just a little picture to show you the Iwe tribe of Ghana. So let me move on to my third step. The third thing you need to do. This is crucial. Like, okay, everything is crucial. I'm gonna just put it to you like that. You need it all. But once you got your papers, once you got your passport, once you got your visa, yes, those are crucial. But you know what's even more crucial? What's even more critical? You got to have money. You got to have some money. Now, depending on how you go, when you go, I know it's some people got that real raw drapetomania. And they like, yo, I'm out. Once I buy this ticket, I'm out. I know a couple of brothers that literally, now they ain't passport bros, but they use their passport like a brother would, and they get up and go. They look up the flight schedule, and they'll even buy be on standby. I'm ready. Now I ain't saying you got to do it that way. Takes a special kind of courage to go out like that. I ain't there yet. I got drapetomania, believe me, but I ain't there yet. The real deal for me and for a lot of people would be, okay, how do I plan this out? Now, you're gonna have to put some money aside. What they call it? They call it a savings account. No, 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 no. I ain't gonna call it a savings account. We gonna set that little dry phrase to the side. We don't like that. Over here, we gonna call it the Flee the Foolishness Fund. That's what you gotta set up. You gotta set up a Flee the Foolishness Fund. Y'all heard all those F's, right? You need a separate pot of money that ain't got nothing to do with your light bill. Stack your escape funds, ladies and gentlemen. Your Fleet of Foolishness Fund, aka your escape funds. Like I said, Ice-T said escape for the killing fields. So you gotta have this separate pot of money, and you can't do nothing with it. You just gotta throw some money in it and let it grow. It can't be attached to, it can't be, don't go fiddling with it when the light bill is due. Don't go dipping in it because you just gotta have a new J's. This ain't got nothing to do with your shoe budget. This ain't got nothing to do with your brunch habits. Whether it's you and your girls or you and your homies and y'all about to go, this is Flee the Foolishness Fund. This is the Bye Bye Babylon account. Because let me tell you this, when you set it up and you give it that little name and you set up your little notifications on your phone and you direct some money here and you direct some money from there and you get those notifications and it says bye bye Babylon, that hits a little different. Reminds you of the intention, helps you stay focused. So, and let me say it this way. Let me put it to you this way. Even if you can only stash the price of one Starbucks run per week, go ahead and do it. Set this up now. Don't even think of it as a savings account. No, think of it as an investment in your exit strategy. This is your one-way jet fuel. It's your launch pad. It's not a nest because you're not a chicken sitting on dreams. You about to put something into place that's you about to be the phoenix plotting your next comeback. Forget the idea of a nest egg because you're not nesting. You're going to be escaping the mess. Like I said, this is for drapetomaniacs, world travelers, international vagabonds with style. You're not stockpiling anxiety snacks. You're building bricks for a new peace-filled home or a new peace-filled journey. So stop asking yourself, can I afford this? And start asking yourself, how much longer can I afford to stay stuck? Because that's the real question. Now, like I said, let me piggyback onto this. How long can you stay in Ghana? Up to 60 days on one tourist visa, on one single entry tourist visa. In Senegal, you can stay for 90 days. In Jamaica, you can stay 90 days. And both of these are visa free. Now, I'm about to hit you with another what? I'm going to hit you with another African proverb. But before I get there, you want to know how I started my Bye Bye Babylon account? I took a look at my budget and I saw where all my money was going. And I was like, okay, I got to sacrifice something. I got to sacrifice something. I wasn't sure which one I was going to do, but it would coincidentally, it was right around the time Netflix was raising their prices. So you know what I said? You know something? I'm going to sacrifice this luxury. I'm going to trade this Netflix for something called net worth. How about that? So I downsized, stepped away from Netflix. I also downsized and stepped away from some of those brunches that I was going to. And so that's what started me down the path. Now I didn't stick around. I had a little plan. I didn't give myself personally. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be the one that don't move until I hit the magic number. But there's nothing wrong with that. If you say I'm not gonna leave until, I'm not gonna take a visit until, I'm not gonna get out of here for good until, that's great. Now me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need at least $3,000 to get up out of here. That's after I buy my plane ticket. That's after I secured my hotel room. And then I bounced it about like $500 early. Like the Drapetomania was calling. I ain't saying do it my way. I'm just saying do it. So yeah, I sacrificed some things. I stacked my bread and I got on that plane. And like I said, yeah, people always ask, how long can you stay? 60 days in Ghana, 90 days in Senegal, 90 days in Jamaica. Now, I can't run down the whole list, but you can look it up. Because the real question, don't ask me how long can you stay in a particular country. Ask me how long can you stay in the mess you're in now. Especially now. Now, this happened before. The last time Orangutan was in office, thousands upon thousands of African Americans said, I'm out. I think the real question is to see whether or not we meet that number this time or we exceed that number this time. That's the real jewel and gem for me, at least. That's the curiosity for me. Now, I haven't gone, like I said, I haven't left yet. I don't live in Ghana full time yet. I don't live in Senegal full time yet. I'm still over here in the belly of the beast, but I've gone multiple times. I've stayed almost 2 months at a time. And I've seen, I've learned, I've linked up with folks doing the same. I got friends, I got associates, I got freedom fighting kin across countries. And what do? We network. Because whether you stay here or you leave, you always got a network. So we network, we share tips, we share plots and possibilities on the regular. So nothing I'm giving you, I'm not trying to come across as a guru. No, I'm your fellow Drapetomaniac. We in this together. I'm still stacking my coins. I'm still collecting knowledge. I'm still trying to curate a squad of folks who share info, tips, and that good old fashioned tea. I'm telling you, as someone who's doing the work and boarding the flights at the same time, that's the point I'm trying to get across. Make a plan, but work your plan while you are saving your plan or saving for your plan. Because my goal, I'm not just trying to look free online. I'm not just trying to take some photos, take some selfies in front of a statue and make it look like it's fun. I want to actually have real life freedom. But that's me. And I'm not here to sell you nothing. Literally, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I don't organize trips. You're not going to hear me at the end of the show saying, contact me if you're ready to go. I'm not hating on anybody to do that. I just don't do that. I know it's a whole lot of people out there that do that. Y'all better be careful because there's a whole lot of scams out there. But like I said, I'm gonna hit you with this West African proverb. Now this one is a little long, but check it out. If you spend the night with the blacksmith, you will wake up with sparks on your clothes. If you spend the night with the blacksmith, you will wake up with sparks on your clothes. What do this mean, Drapetomaniacs? Who and what you surround yourself with will shape your journey. That's what it means. Who and what you surround yourself with, that blacksmith, will shape your journey financially and spiritually. Financially and spiritually. So, again, what we talking about? We're talking about travel. We're talking about going to Ghana or going anywhere for real. I'm going to stay focused on Ghana and Senegal. You move on to this next little thing. Now, don't do nothing. Like I said, this is just me giving tips. Don't do nothing without doing some homework. Now, I know a lot of you might be like, homework. Man, I ain't been in school. I ain't talking about that kind of homework. I'm saying do your research. You do need to explore housing, jobs. Let me slow this down now. I see a lot of people talking about, well, what kind of jobs can I get? I'm going to be frank with you. You can't get none. Now, if you're going as a tourist, it doesn't matter. It don't matter if you're moving as a tourist. You just go enjoy yourself and come on back to the belly of the beast. Hopefully, the experience will wake up that drapetomania in you and make you say, "Oh no, 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 no! I want to go back, and I don't want to go back as a tourist. I want to go back to see how I can live there." Now, once you get that little push and urge in the spirit, and you want to leave for good, so to speak, that's when you really got to do your homework. That's when you got to look for housing and job options. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there ain't no job options. Don't look for no job options. Look into the culture, look into the cost of living, but look into how you can start your own business. The biggest thing is how you can start your own business. You're gonna need some entrepreneurialness to you if you want to make it outside of the US. Unless, I'll give the caveat, if you got a link, if you got it in, if you've done your networking and you work with some NGOs, and I ain't gonna even say what it means. If you know, you know. If you're working with NGOs or you work for one of those big oligarchical corporations and they do work overseas, then you might got a leg up on a whole lot of us. Then you got some job options. But if you're just going of your own accord, like we own today's modern day underground railroad, you're going to have some entrepreneurialness to you. So just keep that in mind. I see a lot of people, what kind of jobs? No, 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 no. So let me just say it this way. Research is your passport to informed decisions. Understanding the financial landscape of your desired destination, understanding the financial landscape of your desired destination is crucial. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. You can find a studio apartment in Ghana for between 420 cedis and 1,700 cedis a month. Now, I said studio. Y'all know that's small, right? So don't misquote, don't misunderstand. I ain't saying you can find a mansion for $130 US a month. I'm saying you can find a studio. A studio would be a one bedroom. You might not have a living room, but your kitchen kind of falls into your bedroom. It's a studio. Think of it as a small hotel room. Now, depending on who you are, if you're a family of 2, 3, 4, obviously this ain't gonna work. But if you one, if you're a solo, come on now. Come on now. 130 US dollars a month, and you got a decent hotel room that you can live in. If that's your lifestyle, if you that backpacker lifestyle, if you into the hostels, you can knock that out. Might even get a better price than that. But what I'm saying is do your homework. Find out how much things cost. Find out what the currency exchange rate is. Right now, January. Well, I can't even say right now. We in April now. In March, one US dollar was equal to 15 Ghanaian cedis. I don't know what it is today, but don't quote me, because if I tell you what it is today, on the 9th, it may fluctuate and change again tomorrow, especially with orangutan doing all that he's doing to the stock market. But do your research. Do your research is what I'm trying to say. Now you can do some Instamatic. You can do some right now searching. Go to gg.com.gh. Go to mikasa.com. These are specific websites for housing in Ghana. You can look up rental prices. You can look up purchase prices. So do some research. Now, I will say, buyer beware. Just because I'm throwing out these websites, that doesn't mean just go out there and buy it. I hear so many stories about people, particularly African Americans, talking about, oh, they got ripped off, they got robbed, they paid for that house. And then you go do some digging. They bought a house while they was in America. They never even left the country. Now, okay, I don't know what kind of people, like, you don't do that. Don't do that. Like, just, slow your roll. I know we got drapetomania, and I know we eager to get up out of here. But don't leave this country. Don't leave your common sense in your bedroom while you on an airplane somewhere else. Come on now. Listings change often, and scams are real. I've looked in the newspapers just here in this country, just here in this state. Shout out to Virginia. And I go looking in the apartments for rent section. Everybody in the paper ain't telling the truth. Everybody in those listings ain't real. And you show up to the place and you don't know what this thing is. It looked like a condemned trap. So you can't just go buying it without you being there to see it. And let me hit you with another proverb. A man who has, what was it? A man who has nowhere to go is not afraid of fire. A man who has nowhere to go is not afraid of fire. What? Why you always dropping these proverbs, Shabazz? What this got to do with the proper perspective? Well, I'll tell you what it got to do with it. When you have nothing planned, of course you risk everything. You willing to risk everything. Okay, here's another way to think of it. I know you heard of this one. They who fail to plan to fail. So I'm saying all of this to say, do your homework. Do your homework. Even if hey, I had the experience of checking out a place on Airbnb and everything looked great. It would all look like this is perfectly fitting to my standards. And then when I showed up, they left a few details out. And once I got there, I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna necessarily work. Now, did I fail to plan? Did I plan to fail? I didn't do as much homework as I could have or should have, but you live and you learn. That's why I'm saying to you, do some homework. Reach out, ask people some questions. So I'll hit you with one more. I'm gonna close this. I'm almost finished, ladies and gentlemen, because I didn't plan on staying on here that long anyhow. So I'm gonna close this little segment off by saying a goat that is always near the kitchen ends up in the soup. Now, why am I saying that? I'm trying to further encourage you to jump on them airplanes. Like, what you mean? America is the kitchen. What did Nelly say? It's getting hot in here. And what they say, if you can't stand the heat, what you supposed to do? Or you keep acting like that goat. that's always near the kitchen. Y'all know what I'm saying? I bet you do now. Y'all see the goat over here? Always near the kitchen? Y'all see this right here? That soup look good. That soup look good. So for real though, this proverb says everything about lingering too long. This proverb says everything about lingering too long. If you know in your spirit that you want to get up out of here, if you know in your spirit that you do not want to stay here, stop making excuses. Stop being that goat that's always near the kitchen. Because lingering too long in a dangerous system, you know what's about to happen. If you're too close to your comfort zones, even your comfort zones will eventually consume you. Or at least the controllers of your comfort zone, even if they're feeding you good scraps in the meantime. Lamb to the slaughter. So I'm encouraging everybody who feels the call to leave, who feels the call to investigate, get to cracking. Exercise on that bye-bye Babylon energy. Don't waste it. You know we ain't all promised tomorrow. Ain't none of us promised tomorrow. Don't be that person that was like, I'm going to do it tomorrow and not wake up. Of course, you ain't going to never know. That's why you do it now. Begin your journey. Begin your search. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like I said, I didn't plan on staying on here long. I appreciate all y'all for listening, for tuning in. Let me throw my terminologies. Let me throw my ads on the screen. Like, share, and subscribe. YouTube.com/@theproperperspective. And I'm going to close out with this. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not going to close out with this just yet. I'll close out like this. So again, make sure that you are plotting your piece. Make sure you take real steps to moving out of the country, whether it's Ghana or not. I hope it's Ghana. I hope to see you there, because that's where I'm going to be. As far as I'm concerned, drapetomania ain't a disease. It's a calling. I hope you feel the call, because if you do, we're going to run into each other. And with that said, y'all know what I'm about to do. I'm going to share my screen. In a minute. Okay, stop sharing. Back to the big screen. And get ready to share it again. I hope I said something that helps you. Hit me up if you want some more information, but I ain't selling nothing. So don't throw that out there at me.
Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. The proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down with the proper perspective.